Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be doing a prediction for the U.S. Senate elections. So I've already got all the safe states characterized. With that, Republicans start with 45 seats to Democrats 43. We'll start with the likely Democratic states, then go likely Republican, and switch until we get all the way to the tilt. So I'll start with likely Democrat. There's really only one of those at the moment, and it's looking like it'll be the state of Minnesota. Minnesota has had a pretty long history of voting for Democrats, so this isn't too much of a surprise. And with the national environment certainly favoring Democrats, I think it would be even easier for Democrats to win this seat. So that is going to bring Democrats to 45. And then as far as the likely Republican seats go, I'm going to start with Florida. I think Florida is probably one of the more likely ones to end up in the likely red column for Republicans. The other seats that are traditionally in the likely red, I think there will be one more. I'm going to go with Nebraska. Nebraska, Dan Osborne, an independent. He actually ran in 2024, but he is running again for the other Senate seat. And he, I think, will perform much better than a Democrat could, than a generic Democrat could. But ultimately, I don't think it'll be enough for him to actually win the seat. But I do think he will make it quite a bit narrower than it would be if a Democrat was running. So I think Democrats were smart to not put forward a candidate in that race and just supporting Dan Osborne. So that's going to be the state of Nebraska, and that brings Republicans to 47 seats. Then there are going to be one more in the likely. That's going to be the state of Iowa. Iowa, I might even be willing to put it into the lean. I think it's going to be between lean and likely. I think that's going to be the case for most of these likely states. Could very easily see them going into the lean column, but for now I will keep Iowa at likely. And then we'll jump to the lean Democrat states. So we're going to start with the seat in New Hampshire. That's going to be one more seat for the Democrats, bringing them to 45. And then there's going to be a few others for the Republicans. We're going to start out with Alaska. This would normally be a likely, if not safe, seat for for Republicans, but a former U.S. House Representative, Mary Peltola, who won the same election map because Alaska only has one congressional seat. She was able to win Alaska, and she is running for Senate. She was a great pick for Democrats, and I think she will narrow it up. I don't think it'll be enough to win the state, but at the moment, that is going to have her in the lean margin the Republicans are in the lean margin for the state of Alaska. And then there's going to be a few others. We're going to get to the state of Texas. So with that brings Republicans to 50 seats. So they automatically hold control of the Senate, at least for the rest of Trump's term, with J.D. Vance being the tie-breaking vote. So that is going to be the case there in Texas. I think there's going to be one more in the lean column, that being the state of Ohio. Ohio, this would normally be in the likely. It could be brought down to lean with the right candidate, and I think in this case it has been brought down to lean with the right candidate. In this case, it's Sherrod Brown. He actually was a former senator from Ohio. He lost his re-election bid in 2024, and has announced that he's going to run for the other Senate seat in Ohio. And I think he is going to be a good candidate Democrats could put forward, much like Mary Peltola in Alaska. However, I don't think he'll be good enough of a candidate to win an election in Ohio. Honestly, I would see Alaska going blue more likely before Ohio would go blue. I think it would be in the tilt if it were to happen, but that's going to be the state of Ohio. So that means Republicans to 51 seats. They will control the Senate and can even afford to lose a vote, with J.D. Vance being the tie-breaking vote. But we'll now go over to the tilt Democrat seats. I'm going to start out with Georgia, and even North Carolina. I feel reasonably confident in putting them into the Democratic Party's column. These two seats, they'll be interesting to watch. They can give us an idea of which way, because they're both swing states, they can give us an idea of which way the states are leaning when it comes to the statewide level, possibly going into 2028 with Democrats hoping to win both. That would be a tall ask for North Carolina, but it certainly is a possibility. So that is going to be the two states there in the other half of the Sun Belt. And then Michigan, I've gone back and forth on Michigan. I think I'm going to put it into the tilt blue column, this seat, if it were a neutral year, I think it would probably go to Republicans, but with the strong national environment for Democrats, I'm going to put that into, I think that would be enough to shift the state into the tilt blue margin. And then we get to the state of Maine. I'm going to do the same characterization there. This is Susan Collins' seat. She is a Republican, of course, and has won fairly consistently for quite a while in a state that is traditionally usually blue. Usually Maine is, on the presidential level at least, is in the lean blue category. So it is impressive that a Republican can win in the state. She definitely has portrayed herself as more of a moderate, and I think that has certainly helped. I just don't think that this will be an election she can win. It will also depend on who the Democratic Party's nominee is, but at the moment I'm going to keep the state of Maine in the Democratic Party's column. So that is going to bring us to 51 to 49. So Republicans maintain the majority in the U.S. Senate. However, it is narrowed down by a few seats. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.